What is up, YouTube? What is up, fellow fantasy people? And of course, what is up, the Catch fam? You already know time is, man. We are here to roll right into another mock draft. So I have got an 8-man league going on. We've got PPR scoring format as well as the 8th overall selection. So we will go ahead and hop right into this one. If you guys are enjoying these videos, please let me know in the comments down below. And if you're not, give me some feedback on how to improve them, as well as what type of mock drafts, what mock draft platform you guys want to see. And as always, I kindly ask that you go and smash that like button, as it does give us a little boost and helps the channel out a great deal. And as always, go and hit that sub button, man. It's time you do it. If you're not subscribed, get subscribed, man. The time has never been better. Fantasy football is right around the corner. Regular NFL action is right around the corner. I am pumped as always. Cannot wait for this NFL season. I think it's going to be a great one. So let's go ahead and hop right into this, man. So we are anticipating a relatively good running back being available with that 8th overall selection. So I'm going to go RB receiver here actually and see what kind of value we can get if we kind of test out that bounce back method of going RB receiver for the first couple of rounds. And I think we'll be able to build a pretty good roster overall, as we see CMC followed by selection of Derrick Henry 2nd overall. I like that selection, man. Blaze 99 with the belief in Derrick Henry, followed by that of Dalvin Cook and Alvin Kamara. So I would expect Nick Chubb to go. Zeke will probably go next, and then probably that of Aaron Jones. Let me know how you guys are currently evaluating Saquon Barkley, who's supposed to start practicing pretty soon here in the coming week. Someone who I'm just not confident in taking. I'm really not, but he's sitting here, and I think that we have to do it, right? I mean, when you look at the running back values, I mean, Najee Harris is great. And as we kind of look to these later rounds, 24 and so on, let's go ahead and let's pick up Saquon, and then let's go ahead. And you really have your options between Tyreek Hill and Davante Adams. Let's go secure Davante Adams, and let's just move right along. And I think I accidentally just called that round 24, but we have the selection of pick 24. So let's go ahead and monitor things. Najee Harris selected 10th overall. Really, the other running back I was contemplating with that 8th overall selection was Najee Harris. But for the sake of mock drafting, we'll go ahead and roll with Saquon Barkley and see what happens. Like I said, let me know in the comments down below where you guys kind of stand with Saquon Barkley at this given moment. But we went out and we got a great receiver in that of Davante Adams, and now we see Travis Kelce and Jonathan Taylor and Darren Waller selected with the 13th overall selection. So an interesting draft thus far. And with that 24th selection, we're going to be kind of targeting that of Joe Mixon, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, as well as David Montgomery, if those two guys don't fall to us. But even then, I would put David Montgomery right up there, if not further ahead of Joe Mixon or DK Metcalf. If you guys checked out mine and Steven's running back ranking videos, you guys know that I have David Montgomery as the 12th overall running back this year. So no reason to not go out and target him, right? So we've seen Austin Eckler off the board, CeeDee Lamb and Tyreek Hill here in the 2nd round. In the 3rd round, Stephon Diggs off the board, followed by the selection of the first quarterback in that Patty Mahomes, man, in the 3rd round at the 18th overall pick. A great selection by Blaze 99, doing it big. He's got Derrick Henry, CeeDee Lamb, and Patty Mahomes. A very good start to that roster. Kind of bouncing back, but also with a quarterback sprinkled in there. Now we see Antonio Gibson as well as D-Hop off the board, and there goes Calvin Ridley. So let's see who are the top players. Justin Jefferson, and Justin Jefferson was just selected, and now A.J. Brown as well as Joe Mixon all sitting here. So Joe Mixon would be a great selection here. Let's go ahead and let's add him to this roster, and let's turn around and get a receiver in that of DK Metcalf. Very, very, very unlikely that David Montgomery falls to us. Probably impossible, right? But nonetheless, I am kind of trying to go out and diversify some of these draft selections and try and select some guys who I don't have as high or that I have a little bit lower than other players, just to see how the roster turns out in the end and kind of see where I can gauge my confidence in some of these other guys. So heck, we have stated we are bouncing back between the receiver and running back position. So right now we've got Saquon Barkley and Joe Mixon, and at the receiver position we have got that of Devontae Adams and DK Metcalf, a scary combo. Even in an 8-man league, nonetheless, a very, very good 1-2 punch there. There goes David Montgomery. So let's go ahead and start looking at the running back position. Clyde Edwards-Helaire is still sitting there. J.K. Dobbins, Darrell Henderson, as well as Miles Sanders. And at the receiver position, we've got a lot of good receivers. Expect a huge run on receivers about to happen, but I still think we'll be able to go out and add someone of very good value to this roster. And there goes Kyler Murray, the second quarterback off the board. And Josh Allen, followed by that selection of Kyler Murray. So let's see at the quarterback position, we've still got Lamar Jackson and Dak Prescott sitting there, but at this point, relatively unlikely that either of those guys fall to us. And nonetheless, we are messing around with that bounce back method, and we have got to go out and get a receiver and running back with these next two selections, as we've seen Travis Etienne, Edwards-Helaire, and J.K. Dobbins all off the board. So Darrell Henderson is our top target as Julio Jones is selected. And at the receiver position, I mean, there are a couple guys that I do like here, but I think that Chris Godwin and Keenan Allen are obviously our top targets alongside Allen Robinson. But I would be relatively surprised if all of those guys are available. Only 4 more selections until we pick. A part of me really wants to go out and get a quarterback. Part of me wants to go out and select 2 running backs, but we are trying to follow this specific strategy of kind of bouncing back between receiver and running back, at least for the first 6 selections. So Darrell Henderson still our top target, as Kyle Pitts, Allen Robinson, and George Kittle, as well as Julio Jones and Keenan Allen have all been selected. So it looks like we're going to get some pretty good value here. We're kind of hoping that Chris Godwin falls, and he does. So let's go out, let's pick up Chris Godwin, and then let's go out and let's get Darrell Henderson. And a very good start overall to this roster. Devontae Adams, DK Metcalf, and Chris Godwin leading our wide receiver room. And now we have got Saquon Barkley, Joe Mixon, and Darrell Henderson all at the running back position. So very confident in those first 6 selections, and now we need to start monitoring the quarterback position as well as the tight end position, and then from there we will go with the best value at each position, as we see Myles Gaskin and Lamar Jackson both taken off the board. And now we have seen a lot of good talent start to go, right? Mike Evans, Kareem Hunt, Amari Cooper, Jamar Chase, Robert Woods, and Miles Sanders really looking like the best values available, but I'm sure they will be selected at any given moment. Josh Jacobs would be a great selection with this 56 overall selection, and we'd love to go out and get a guy like Dak Prescott. And, as cheesy as it sounds, starting to watch the Hard Knocks episodes, featuring the Dallas Cowboys, my fantasy stock on Dak Prescott has gotten higher. My overall confidence in that offense has gotten higher. I would go check it out. If you guys don't have HBO Max, I'm sure you can get like a week's week free subscription or whatever. The show's great. I mean, only 2 episodes have come out at the time I'm recording this, but they really do a great job of giving you an inside look at some of these, rosters and the offseason and how the preseason progresses. So, nonetheless, we've got a lot of good talent in this mock draft sitting here. A lot of guys that we can go out and get here, as TJ Hawkinson is taken off the board. Let's go ahead and see what's happening at the tight end position. Mark Andrews is still sitting here. If he falls to us, I mean, that's too good of a talent to pass up, but we still have a lot of these later round guys sitting here, as James Robinson has been taken off the board. Josh Jacobs, our top selection, with 5 more picks until we select. Now Tyler Lockett and Brandon Ayuk are off the board. So it's going to kind of, let's see if these guys are going RB heavy. Nick Chubb, Jonathan Taylor, David Montgomery. So I don't see Harris taking a running back. Then we've got Zeke and Chris Carson. So some definitely possibility there. And then Myles Gaskin, Aaron Jones, and Najee Harris. So it's definitely possible that we slide through without, and there goes Miles Sanders on an already RB heavy team. But You guys know that we love to load out at the RB position, and we recommend it. So, nonetheless, I'm not surprised with that selection. And there goes Josh Jacobs. We were so freaking close, as Russell Wilson is now taken off the board. But nonetheless, let's go ahead. We're going to secure the quarterback position, and that of Dak Prescott. And Mark Andrews is sitting here, so let's just take him, right? I mean, there's a lot of good receivers, some good running backs that we like here as well. But now we kind of have the opportunity to move away from the quarterback and tight end position, but still feel very, very confident with the guys on this roster. And we have 3 great running backs and 3 great receivers. Plenty of time to draft, so no stress whatsoever, man. All right, so here in the 8th round after my selection of Mark Andrews, we've seen DJ Moore, Adam Thielen, and DeAndre Swift all off the board. Mike Davis is sitting here, Damian Harris, Deontay Johnson. I mean, a lot of good talent. Really no reason to start targeting someone, as we still have quite a few selections until we pick, but I would love to go out and get Ronald Jones as well as Robert Tonyan here just to add some good depth at both positions. And I think in these 8-man leagues, once you've gone out and secured 2 or 3 receivers that you're confident in, and I am certainly confident in these 3 guys, you can take a step away from the receiver position. There's going to be good enough value in later rounds that it's more valuable to go ahead and lock up some other positions. So, I mean, we still have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 more players to add to this roster. So let's see, as Trey Sermon, Robbie Anderson, and Blake Jarwin have all been selected. I mean, and there goes Justin Herbert. Mike Davis is still sitting here, man. So I would really like to get a running back as well as a tight end here just to add some more depth. But a quarterback of high value would not hurt this team whatsoever. So still a lot of options here as we see the Los Angeles Rams defense off the board. They are going to be such a good defense this year. I mean, take away everyone on that defense except for Jalen Ramsey and Aaron Donald, and you still have an absolute, extremely lethal defense just with those 2 guys, right? As Joe Burrow taken pretty early, followed by the selection of Jalen Hurts as well. So still a lot of good quarterbacks kind of sitting here. I mean, Tom Brady, A-Rod, Ryan Tannehill, and Matt Stafford all sitting there. Very nice, just waiting to be selected. And there goes Aaron Rodgers after the selection of Javonte Williams, as well as the Washington football defense, and the San Francisco 49ers defense. So Mike Davis is sitting here. I'm not going to pass that up. That might end up hurting us, but Ronald Jones is sitting here, so screw it. We just totally did the opposite of what we said we were going to do. We went out and we got 2 running backs to add. We have got a ton of depth at the running back position, but now it's very unlikely that we are going to secure one of those top tier quarterbacks, but it is somewhat likely that Matt Stafford falls to us. And at this point, I mean, Tom Brady is still sitting here as we see my guy Jerry Jeudy off the board. And although we might not be able to secure Robert Tonyan, I do think there's some good value in Mike Gesicki, Noah Fant, as well as Dallas Goedert. So I think we're going to be okay at the tight end position as well, especially with that steal and that of Mark Andrews. So yeah, I don't feel bad whatsoever by going out and securing 2 more running backs on this team. So now we're going to definitely target a quarterback and tight end, and then we will go out and get the receiver that we see with the most value at that given time. And I think there's going to be plenty of valuable receivers, given that this is an 8-man mock draft. So now we've seen the Pittsburgh Steelers defense off the board, followed by a Pittsburgh Steelers wide receiver, and that of Chase Claypool, and now Justin Tucker off the board as well. So a lot of good players here. I mean, Tom Brady is absolutely our top target. I mean, I would not be surprised if he gets selected here, but nonetheless, definitely the best value at the quarterback position. And Robert Tonyan is also still sitting here. So those are our top targets overall. Let's go ahead and see who else is available. Matthew Stafford would be the next target at the quarterback position, and at the tight end position. I mean, really, Mike Gesicki, Noah Fant, and Dallas Goedert, and even Logan Thomas present all very, very good value at this point in this draft, as Damian Harris and Leonard Fournette are both taken off the board, and there goes Chase Edmonds as well. So The thing helping us right now is that there's a lot of good kind of handcuff situations, kind of these later round running backs available, as well as a lot of value at the receiver position as Matthew Stafford gets selected. So now we're starting to sweat a little bit, but Tom Brady's still sitting there as T. Higgins is selected, and there goes Tom Brady. So we didn't get Tom Brady, but we will survive as we do have a lot of faith in that of Dak Prescott. And there goes Raheem Mostert. So we know that we're going to select Robert Tonyan here. Let's go ahead and take a look at the quarterback position. I think a lot of these guys are going to be available later on, and they all present a relatively similar value. So let's go ahead and let's snag up that of Robert Tonyan. And, instead of waiting until a later round, let's probably going to go and just see who's available at the receiver position. But the Baltimore Ravens defense is sitting here, so that's definitely an option. But we've got some really good receivers here. Let's just go ahead and shore up that of Deontay Johnson. As much as I wanted to take the Ravens defense, I still think within 13 more selections, there's going to be some very valuable defenses sitting there. So we're not too ashamed or anything, right? We have got some really good depth on this team at the running back position. We've got 2 stud tight ends, and we have got 4 very valuable wide receivers as Tampa Bay's defense has been taken off the board, and now Antonio Brown is taken off the board as well. We could go out and get a quarterback here, right? My top guys are going to be Trevor Lawrence and then Tua all the way down there as well. And then after that, I'm just not really feeling like any of these quarterbacks are going to give us an insane value in an 8-man league. So let's go ahead and check who's available at the receiver position. A lot of good receivers sitting here, but Corey Davis is the guy who stands out to me. But let's go ahead and check the defensive positions as well. Baltimore is still sitting here. Let's go ahead and queue them up. But if they get selected, we know we can turn around and get the Colts or the Miami Dolphins defense as well as New England Patriots defense. So still some pretty good depth there. And then at the tight end position, Mike Gesicki is still available. So a lot of really good players available. And to be completely truthful, I would probably pass on the quarterback position in real life, as there's just so much good depth here at some other positions. Although we already have 2 tight ends on this team, Mike Gesicki looks like a great value at this point, as Dallas Goedert, the Baltimore Ravens defense, have now been selected, and that of James Conner. And there goes Shenault Jr. So let's go ahead and scoot me over here. And really, it's your pick. These are all going to be in somewhat or some shape or form how we finish out this roster, right? So I think Mike Gesicki is a great value. Call me crazy for drafting 3 tight ends. One of my best fantasy seasons of all time is when I went out and drafted 3 tight ends. So let's kind of monitor what's going on. We've got Kenny Golladay, the Pats, and Noah Fant all off the board. So really sitting here with a lot of good value. Mike Gesicki still sitting here. So in all reality, this is what I would do in real life. I would draft Mike Gesicki, and I would draft Corey Davis, and I would hope that no one else in my league is high on Trevor Lawrence or Tua, and I would let them sit, and then that would be my team, right? So we did forfeit a kicker with this squad. I don't feel bad about it, as we got tremendous value and depth, and we will go out and target one of these defenses with our final selection. So let's go ahead and get ready to break down the roster, man. All right, so at the quarterback position, we have Dak Prescott. We feel very confident overall with that selection and him leading this helm. This is someone I've been taking in a lot of mock drafts recently, and I have no shame whatsoever about it. Receiver room is very deep. We've got Devontae Adams and DK Metcalf. We don't even need to go any further, right? Those 2 guys are going to absolutely tear up the league this year, but outside of them, we do have that of Chris Godwin, Deontay Johnson, and Corey Davis. So very deep. Overall, I'm very happy with the receivers on this squad. At the running back position, I went out and took some guys that I normally don't take, right? We know that Najee Harris or Antonio Gibson, Jonathan Taylor were all available when we selected Saquon Barkley. Guys like David Montgomery were available when we went and got Joe Mixon. But nonetheless, I do think that we got pretty good value at our first 2 starters at the running back position on this team. And then we went out and we added a lot of good depth. We've got Darrell Henderson, Mike Davis, Ronald Jones as well. So we feel very confident in the running backs On this team, at the tight end position, we got a great steal. Mark Andrews kind of floating around for quite some time. We went ahead and snagged him up. But we have incredible depth at the tight end position as well, with Robert Tonyan sitting here and that of Mike Gesicki. Really, guys who are going to perform pretty closely to wide receiver number 1. I mean, not anywhere close to like a Devontae Adams, but some of these other receivers on our team put up, I mean, look at Chris Godwin's 840 receiving yards last year and 7 touchdowns. Robert Tonyan, I mean, they're not going to perform as close, but when you look at some of these numbers, I mean, they're relatively close to where some of those receiver ones were last year, or receivers too. So we feel very confident overall in those 3 tight ends that we went out and got. Let's go ahead and let's add a kicker so that this draft is over. And nonetheless, I think we put together a great roster, even for an 8-man league, using that bounce back method. We ended up with Ryan Suckup. We were supposed to pick a defense, but we picked a kicker instead. So nonetheless, we either forfeited a kicker or a defense. So we did not get Miami's defense. We went and got a kicker, but same difference, right? So feel very confident with this team overall by using that bounce back method. Really, with the bounce back method of running back to receiver for the first 6 selections, and then going out and targeting a quarterback and tight end, and then going back to I kind of strayed away from it when I went out and selected those 2 running backs. But nonetheless, after you get your tight end and quarterback and you have your first 6 receivers and running backs, you're really just looking to get the best available players, which I think we certainly did. This team has a ton of depth. So that was a blast, man. I had a lot of fun with that one. If you guys did enjoy this video or find it helpful in any way, please go ahead and hit that like button, man. What are you waiting for? It truly helps us out. If you guys suffered through this or you enjoyed this either way, go ahead and smash that like button. It truly does give us a boost and helps out the channel. And as always, go ahead and subscribe to the channel, man. What are you waiting for? It is time for the catch in your life. It is almost time for regular season NFL football. Is almost time for true fantasy football to begin. So go ahead and get some of the catch in your life as well, man. We're going to help you along the journey all year long. And as always, drop a comment down below with what types of mock drafts you guys need to see to help you in your personal fantasy football leagues. And as always, I thank you very, very much for watching and or listening. And remember, you saw it here on the catch.